With the latest Virginia Beach Fire Department news updates, here's Master Firefighter Stu Sayer.
Hello, I'm Master Firefighter Stuart Sayer, and welcome to the latest edition of VBFD News Updates. The construction of new Company 7 is nearly complete. On your screen are recent photos of the station, which is located on Columbus Street. Fire personnel are scheduled to move in by late February. On Saturday, January 18th, several members of the VBFD participated in the Blue Line basketball tournament held at Virginia Wesleyan College. The teams were made up mostly of area police and sheriff departments, with VBFD representing as the only area fire department. Unfortunately, Team VBFD lost both of their games. Many thanks to all of the members who participated. And now, here are the details of some of our recent working incidents. On Tuesday, January 2nd, around 07:45, Battalion 1 units were dispatched to a commercial fire in the 2200 block of Pacific Avenue. Upon arrival, heavy smoke was billowing from Jungle Gulf, a Virginia Beach landmark. Crews positioned for interior attack and made entry through the front door. The fire was located in the Bravo Charlie corner on the first and second floors. The roof and soffit area had to be opened up to locate any hot spots. The fire was completely extinguished shortly thereafter. No civilian or firefighter injuries were reported. On Saturday, January 4th, around 1720, units from Battalion 4 were dispatched to a commercial fire alarm in the 2000 block of General Booth Boulevard. Crews found a 3-story apartment building that was actively being evacuated by the residents. With nothing visible from the street, first arriving personnel immediately began investigating the scene. Some residents advised that there was an issue on the second floor of the structure. Light smoke conditions indicated that there was a fire in one of the apartments, and the incident was upgraded to a full structural response. Further investigation indicated fire was active on the second floor. Crews opened the door to one of the second-floor apartments and found black smoke and no heat. Crews masked up and quickly made entry into the apartment. A primary search found one civilian who appeared to be semi-conscious and disoriented with signs of smoke inhalation. Crews were able to locate a small fire on the top of the stove that extended up the wall in the kitchen. Once found, the fire was quickly knocked down. One firefighter and one civilian injury were reported at this incident. On Sunday, January 5th, around 2210, crews from Battalion 3 responded to an accident pin with a possible vehicle on fire at the intersection of Pleasant Valley and Lynn Haven Parkway next to Station 19. 3 vehicles were involved in the accident. The first vehicle was on its roof and was on fire with 2 people trapped inside. The second vehicle was on its side with 1 person trapped. The third vehicle involved sustained minor damage. Crews pulled an attack line to extinguish the fire in the first vehicle, and beach police assisted with removing the 2 trapped patients. An additional engine was requested for assistance with the fire and extrication coverage, as well as additional water supply. Additional EMS units were also requested due to the number of patients and the manpower needed to handle the scene. The severity of the collision resulted in a fatality to the driver of one of the vehicles. The incident remains under investigation and criminal charges are pending. On Friday, January 10th, around 0210, crews from Battalions 1 and 3 responded to a residential fire in the 700 block of South Lynn Haven Road. Prior to the fire department's arrival, 4 Virginia Beach police officers were on scene trying to warn and check on the welfare of the occupants of the home. Upon arrival, crews found a single-story residence with fire and smoke issuing from the Alpha Bravo corner window and rooftop vents. Crews split tasks of fire attack, searches, and pulling ceilings. The fire was quickly extinguished and overhaul and ventilation was completed. The police officers first on scene were transported to an area hospital as a precaution for smoke inhalation. All of the occupants made it out safely. On Friday, January 10th, around 1310, units from Battalion 3 were dispatched for a residential fire in the 2900 block of Hermes Street. Crews arrived on scene to find a small amount of smoke coming from an upstairs window on the Bravo side of the structure. Further investigation revealed heavy smoke and a small fire in the room over the garage. Crews assisted with evacuation of a dog in the home after confirming all occupants were already out of the residence. Crews pulled an attack line and quickly extinguished the fire. Overhaul revealed a small fire confined to the room of origin with no extension. No injuries were reported in this incident. On Friday, January 17th, around 1800, crews from Battalion 3 responded to a residential fire in the 1300 block of Thamesford Drive in the Rosemont Forest South section of the city. First arriving units found a two-story single-family dwelling with heavy smoke and fire showing from the Delta and Charlie sides of the structure. Crews were met by neighbors stating there were 2 people still trapped in the residence. Heavy fire was noted on the first floor and heavy smoke was coming from the second floor Delta side window. Police officers located on the Delta side were able to verify trapped occupants, but not the exact location. Attack lines were placed in service and attempts were made at entry, but crews were immediately met with extreme heat and fire conditions. A successful vent-enter search tactic was implemented in a valiant effort to rescue the trapped occupants, although the victim did not survive. The heavy volume of fire in the structure left crews working long into the night to fully extinguish the blaze. The fire resulted in 2 civilian deaths, 5 civilian injuries, and 4 firefighter injuries. On Tuesday, January 21st, around 2300, VBFD responded to a residential fire in the 700 block of Runnymede Circle in the Kings Grant section of the city. The house suffered heavy fire and water damage. No civilian or firefighter injuries were reported. On Wednesday, January 22nd, around 1525, crews from Battalion 3 were dispatched to a reported chimney fire in the 5100 block of Providence Road. We caught up with Captain Joe Gaspar, who gave us a brief rundown of the incident.
Engine 10 arrived on scene of a 2-story residential structure with a chimney fire. Had active fire from the top of the flue all the way to the top of the chimney. We opened up the flue, we were able to spray water cans underneath into the chimney from the bottom, but we weren't able to get it. We had to have ladder 9 go to the top and flow a couple water cans down from the top to get the active fire out, and went down all the creosote. We did arrive on scene, Engine 10, went to flush the hydrant. The hydrant was frozen. If this would have been a fully involved fire, we would have had no water supply from this hydrant. We would have had to find another one.
Later that evening, around 1930, VBFD crews responded to a report of a residential fire in the 1000 block of Mill Pond Court in the Indian Lake section of the city. Acting Captain Josh Zanakis was on scene and gave us a brief summary of the call.
Engine 19 arrived on scene as the 2nd unit. Ladder 9 was in front of us. Pulled up, battalion reported they had heavy smoke coming from the eaves of the structure. Engine 19 made entry with ladder 9. We found a fire and smoke coming from the fireplace. It was up in the attic. Went ahead and got an 1 3/4 attack line on that. Squad 10 also pulled an attack line. We got a quick knock on the fire in the attic. It appears that the fire is left due to an unattended fireplace. And that's where the fire originated. There were some 2 pets that had perished, with no injuries to civilians or firefighters. I think the crews did an excellent job. We got in, got a quick knock on the fire, did what we came here to do, put the fire out.
On Thursday, January 23rd, around 1500, crews from Battalion 4 were dispatched to a reported vehicle accident with a pin at the intersection of Princess Anne and Gum Bridge roads. Upon arrival, crews found a 2-vehicle accident with a female driver of the small SUV entrapped, but not pinned. Crews proceeded to extricate the patient. Access was gained to the victim by removing the driver's side door. The patient was removed and crews assisted EMS with patient packaging and loading. Just minutes later, around 1525, Battalion 3 crews responded to a townhouse structure fire in the 3600 block of Ship Chandler's Wharf. 5 people were home at the time and were able to escape safely. No civilian or firefighter injuries were reported. Later that evening, around 2000, crews from Battalion 2 responded to a report of a commercial structure fire at the Reef Lounge in the 2900 block of Shore Drive. Battalion Chief Jack Crandall gave us an overview of the incident.
Units from the 2nd Battalion responded out here to Shore Drive tonight about 8 o'clock. Engine 1 arrived on scene to find a significant fire inside the Reef Lounge here. They made entry, found heavy fire in the back of the restaurant. Once they got in there, they figured out the electrical panel was involved, creating a significant problem for them. So everybody backed out until Virginia Power got here and took care of the power problem, went back in, pretty much mopped it up. Got a little bit of smoke damage to the Bravo and Delta exposures. Other than that, the reef lounge will be the only thing out of business. So all in all, a good job, all the crews that arrived here. Very cold tonight, icy conditions, and but everybody made it through and did a good job.
On Friday, January 24th, around 2040, crews from Battalion 3 responded to a residential fire in the 3700 block of Kings Point Road in the Plaza section of the city. Crews found fire showing from the A side of the structure on the second floor as well as the gable vent on the B side. Crews extended a hose line, forced the front door, and proceeded to the second floor to pull the ceiling to get to the fire. The fire in the attic was extinguished once the ceiling was pulled. Crews also had to take out a wall on the second floor A side to completely extinguish the fire. No civilian or firefighter injuries were reported. On Sunday, January 26th, around 1100, Battalion 3 crews responded to a multifamily structure fire in the 400 block of Adkins Arch in the Adkins Meadows Condos complex. First arriving units found a kitchen fire self-venting from the Bravo side of a 4-unit multifamily dwelling. 3 pets were rescued. The fire was quickly extinguished. No civilian or firefighter injuries were reported. That does it for VBFD News Updates. I would like to remind everyone that if you have any future event you would like covered on the news, contact us here at the Training Center and we can feature it on an upcoming program. Thanks for watching and stay safe.